Okay, welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is Senator Victor Umeh, who represents Anambra Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Now, Senator, well, I'm sorry if you didn't hear me earlier on. There was a slight technical glitch. However, I was talking about this controversy over the Electoral Act 2022 Amendment Bill. The opposition is saying that, look, real-time transmission is what they want, is what they think Nigerians want. But the National Assembly, including the Minority Caucus, to which you belong, is saying something else, that whatever was decided at the level of the Senate was a collective decision. We saw Senator Enyenaya Baribe addressing that. Now, at an event in Abuja, the Senate President has also said people are jumping the gun. That, look, the process has not even been completed. And in any case, a real-time transmission of results will not work. INEC Chairman Joash Amukwiton says technology will still be deployed. BVAS is the most efficient, the most reliable thing that Nigerians can look forward to. But the main argument is that, look, about 19 local governments in Nigeria don't even have electricity. So how do you transmit results real time from those places? And that this could lead to complications. You are a member of the Minority Caucus representing Labour Party, Anambra Central. Do you have a different opinion, or do you agree with your colleagues?
Well, thank you, Ruben. I'm sure if you looked at the clip of that press conference, you will see me there standing with my colleagues, about 13 of us. So the issue of whether I agree with my colleagues or not does not arise anymore. We address the press conference together. But let me say, from the introduction you have made, quoting our Senate President to have said that the Senate cannot be intimidated by anybody in the process of lawmaking. Yes, the Senate will not be intimidated, but you know that democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So all actions taken up in any democratic governance must be in accord with the wishes of the people. The people are the center of democratic governance, and what they want and wish for cannot be trampled upon by anybody in government, no matter how highly placed. So on the issue at hand, electronic transmission of results, whether real-time or no real-time, the issue is electronic transmission of results. And that is what has elicited the present controversy. You recall that in 2023, after the general elections, that the results of the elections were challenged in courts, particularly the presidential election that went up to the Supreme Court. And at the Supreme Court, arguments were taken from all the parties. The plaintiffs or the people who came to court made heavy weather about results uploaded to the INEC IREV portal. And in the Supreme Court judgment, the court said that electronic transmission was not contained in the 2022 Electoral Act, and therefore they cannot admit any electronic evidence before it. So that was what informed the present effort to amend the 2022 Electoral Act and provide for electronic transmission of results on real time to the INEC viewing portal. So that is the major work, which started more than a year ago. The Senate Committee on Electoral Matters and the House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters were charged with responsibility of kickstarting the process of amending the 2022 Electoral Act to cover a lot of things, not only electronic transmission of results. They were asked to look at the entire act and make recommendations on the appropriate amendments that will be necessary. And of course, the two chambers had to hold joint sessions to look at the assignment given to them. And in doing that, they held a retreat, an open retreat that brought together all stakeholders, all national chairmen of political parties, the Independent National Electoral Commission, legal luminaries, even judges attended that conference. Civil society organizations all attended. And after brainstorming over the provisions of the 2022 Electoral Act, they came to a conclusion that the electronic transmission of results to the INEC portal in real time was necessary. So they agreed on it. All the parties at that session agreed on that. Now the committees proceeded to organize zonal public hearings across the 6 geopolitical zones and obtain the input of Nigerians. And across the 6 geopolitical zones, the Nigerian citizens were united in demanding that electronic transmission of results should be inserted in the Electoral Act of 2022. Therefore, it should be amended. That section 60 should be amended to accommodate electronic transmission of results. Now, the two committees brought their reports back to their various chambers. The Senate Committee on Electoral Matters brought the recommendations they have gathered from the public hearings and consultative actions, fora, everywhere, and submitted their report to us. The House of Reps Electoral Committee also submitted its own report, all of them based on the synchronized recommendations and demands made by the Nigerian people across Nigeria. So the House of Reps had taken their own, and they've passed all the recommendations as they gathered them during their public hearings. They've gathered all of them, they've passed it. They passed electronic transmission of results. They passed independent, they passed delegate congresses, direct primary, and consensus for nomination of candidates, among other things that they did. But in our own case, our report was brought to us, and the Senate President felt that the right thing to do is for the Senate to set up an ad hoc committee to go and look at the submission made by the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters. All the copies were given to all the senators. We went to read the recommendations. Now, on Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago, the Senate set up an 8-man ad hoc committee to review all those recommendations. Yeah?
No, 8. There
were 8.
Oh, okay.
There were 8.
7 was reported. Okay.
No, 8.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, no, it was 8. There were 8 in number. Yes, 6 APC senators and 2 senators from the other side, making them 8. So the committee was chaired by distinguished Senator Adebomire, a senior advocate of Nigeria. So they were asked to report to the Senate on their findings after reviewing the recommendations of our Senate Committee on Electoral Matters. On Tuesday, the 3rd of February, they brought their report to the Senate. And the Senate President decided that we should go into a closed-door session. His reason was that we should go inside and discuss these things exhaustively. To discuss these things exhaustively, clause by clause, so that the senators will agree or reject any suggested amendment in the Electoral Act of 2022. So the recommendations of the ad hoc committee were placed side by side by the Electoral Act provisions of 2022. And we went through them one by one. And throughout the discussions, senators were almost unanimously agreed to electronic transmission of results. Even the ad hoc committee returned it the way the electoral committee brought it. In other words, they agreed the electoral transmission of results on real time to the INEC portal, viewing portal, should be left the way it was.
Okay,
so as soon as they presented the report, we didn't have any problem. We agreed to that amendment.
Senator,
yes.
Umeh. Now, you said you were part of the minority caucus led by Senator Abaribe that addressed a press conference. Senator Abaribe made it clear there that what the Senate has not agreed upon is real-time transmission. In other words, agreeing that INEC can act based on its own discretion. In other words, transmission of results from polling unit to ward level, to local government, to state government, and then to the national, which would then be collated by INEC. Professor Amukwiton also repeated that at an event, in the last 2 days. Are you now saying that you disagree with what Senator Abaribe reported, along with other members of the minority caucus? The Senate President having said that the objection is not to electronic transmission. Professor Amukwiton also says, no, electronic transmission is not a problem, but not real time. So are you changing your mind? Is that what we're discussing here?
No. Let me tell you, the problem was where they now said that they are returning the provision of section 65 of the 2022 Electoral Act. Yeah, this is
what I've just reported. Exactly what they said.
No, it's not what you reported.
And you were there.
Electronic transmission. I'm telling you. I was there. I'm telling you about electronic transmission.
Okay. What is your position now?
Different from transfer. It's different from transfer of results.
Senator, what's your position now?
Yes.
Are you saying that Senator Abaribe,
our position is that
and Senator Akpabio misrepresented the process to the Nigerian public? In other words, that they are lying in the position they have taken.
Well, you are a media practitioner, and you know that the news you got after that day's plenary was that the Senate has rejected electronic transmission of results. That was what trended everywhere. And it was for a reason that while we agreed that electronic transmission of results will be returned during our closed session, when we came back to the plenary, towards the end, something happened. The chief whip of the Senate rose and said that he's moving that the electronic transmission of results will be expunged and replaced with transfer. And immediately the Deputy Senate President seconded him. And the Senate President immediately put it to a vote. A vote. Those in support say aye, those against say nay. And the ayes have it. So what you will capture in that proceeding will be that we have rejected electronic transmission, and then that we have returned transfer that was in the Electoral Act of 2022. That is the crux of the matter. And we are saying that that's not what the senators agreed to. That surreptitious move to put that question that the Senate President put without any debate is the crux of the matter. And anybody who is now saying that electronic transmission of results was not removed is not saying the truth. What you will see is transfer of results. Go take your Electoral Act section 65, 2022, and read it. It talks about transfer of results, not electronic transmission of results. Electronic transmission was an introduction to the suggested amendment. Section 63 says that results shall be mandatory transmitted electronically to the INEC viewing portal is different from section 60 sub 5 of 2022, that results shall be transferred. You cannot take these two things to be the same thing. So that is what has elicited the controversy. And if they say that they didn't remove transmission, electronic transmission, let them restore it the way it was in our general agreement in closed session, that electronic transmission of results shall
Senator,
be embedded.
Senator Umeh.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned that you were part of the minority caucus that addressed Nigerians, and then after the fact you are saying something else. It looks like you changed your mind.
No,
that's exactly
we're not
what it looks like.
I've not said anything different. I've not said anything different.
No, you are saying something different from what Akpabio said.
Ruben, please, can you... Akpabio said that what we pass is electronic transmission of results. But that's not the case now. So I don't think there's any ambiguity in what we're canvassing. We're saying that the results shall be transmitted electronically. If it is so, there will be no fuse of any sort.
Don't worry.
So what we want is electronic transmission of results. Yes.
Okay. Other people will fact check what Senator Akpabio and the minority caucus said. And then we'll get to know the truth.
And the Senate itself. And the Senate itself. And the Senate itself.
No, Senator.
So let me, before you conclude this interview,
I'm not concluding here too. I still have other questions for you.
Okay, I thought you were concluding with me.
No.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
Some people have now come forward to say the Senate is playing with fire. Specifically, former Minister Obi Ezekwesili, that the Senate should know when it is playing with fire. Some other groups, a group of obedience, have said they are going to occupy the National Assembly. The one other group, Enough is Enough, I think, and some others, have also said they are going to occupy the National Assembly over this matter. What do you say to that? Do you think that that is the solution to the problem, where you assume it exists?
Well, that was why I defined democracy for you in the beginning of the program. I said democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. So you can never discountenance the opinion of people in whatever you do, both in the legislature and in the executive arm of government. The people remain the pivot that will say what they want in governance. And this issue of electronic transmission of results did not come from the moon. It came as a result of what happened in 2023, where the Supreme Court said electronic transmission is unknown to our law. And effort is being made to put it in our law, so that where there is dispute, it doesn't matter, nobody knows tomorrow who will go to court to rely on this electronic transmitted results for prosecution of his case. It has not been proved that it's going to be A or Mr. B. But to make the whole thing level, the field level and even for everybody, we should be making laws that will provide solutions than ones that will create problem. If you don't put back that electronic transmission of results, how can you go back? So we could see that the process of making this amendment involved Nigerians through public hearings. Yes.
So, the public hearings.
Nigerians don't want. If Nigerians don't agree with what we have said to have done, they have a right to say we don't agree with this.
Okay. Take along with that the fact
it's something that concerns everybody, not about obedience. It's not about obedience or enough is enough.
I get your point.
It concerns everybody, including you, Ruben.
Okay, public hearings.
Including you, it concerns you.
Public hearings.
Because we want election to be credible, free and fair in Nigeria.
Senator, public hearings were done before we got to this stage. And the Senate President is saying that those who are criticizing the process are jumping the gun because the process has not yet been completed. In fact, you mentioned the House of Reps earlier on. But the same House of Reps.
I'm a senator, I'm a lawmaker.
Just wait.
I'm a lawmaker, and I'm in a position to tell you where we're headed to and how it will finish.
Senator, just wait. Now, the same House of Reps that you quoted earlier on had even served notice that they also want to change their mind about certain amendments And so the Senate president, maybe that's what he's referring to when he says, we're still looking at the matter and people should not jump to conclusions. And there's still going to be a votes and proceedings process, according to him. So you may be guilty of jumping to a conclusion on the basis of what the Senate president just said a few days ago.
I'm not jumping the gun. I'm a lawmaker, I'm a senator, I'm serving. And I can tell you that what is ongoing now is something that if care is not taken, the fears of Nigerians will be confirmed. Electronic transmission of results will be dropped. Because the truth is that the House of Reps has passed it. The Senate did not, from the way it handled its own proceedings, the electronic transmission of results is not there now. And the votes and the record of votes and proceedings will be approved before they go to conference or harmonization committee. Harmonization committee has been set up already by the Senate. But if we approve the votes and proceedings, then I will go and join their counterparts in the House of Reps. They will meet and reconcile. It may be a case of the same people coming together to reconcile their interests and tell us that this is what they have come up with. Nigeria will be faced with a foxfire, a fait accompli. And when they rule like that, then it means that the electronic transmission of results has collapsed. At that point, what will Nigerians do? Our yearning is for a transparent, credible election in Nigeria. The INEC chairman you quoted that said that he would deploy technology in conducting the election. Yes, INEC has been using technology to conduct these elections. The one we did in Anambra State on the 8th of November last year, by 8 p.m., all the polling booth results have been uploaded in the INEC portal. You can easily view them and see that everything is in place. And within hours, the final election result was declared. There was no protest. So now that we are having this process that is very reassuring, if you remove it, you leave it to the discretion of INEC. When a dispute arises, if you go to the court again, to the Supreme Court, they will tell you that electronic transmission of results is not in the Electoral Act. It's unknown to Nigerian law. What will we do at that stage? So we begin to kill ourselves again, shouting that, why can't we preserve something that will promote confidence and transparency? Because nobody will be harmed if results are transmitted electronically. Why do you want to drop it?
Senator.
What is the reason for wanting to drop it?
Senator,
yes.
I want to begin to round up now. What do you say to the issue about infrastructure?
Okay.
The Senate president was very clear that in at least 9 states, more than 19 was polling stations across the country, there is a problem of infrastructure, internet connection, and there is likely to be dispute if you cannot transmit election results
all of us,
from those places real time.
All of us.
No, just hold on. The issue is about real-time electronic transmission. And that for that reason, the process already in the Electoral 2022 should be retained. You fill from ECATA, and then you go through the process, and then INEC handles the process accordingly. So you think infrastructure will not be a problem?
Yes, I will answer you that very directly. The issue of infrastructure does not arise. The reason is that the 2023 general election, all the results were uploaded successfully for the National Assembly elections. All of us came to the National Assembly, 109 senators and 360 members of the House of Representatives came to the National Assembly from the same election conducted one day. There was no glitch in transmitting results of the senatorial House of Representatives election. It was only the presidential election transmission that was said to have had a glitch. And that is why the dispute came about. So it was a problem of infrastructure. Then many elections have been conducted since then, since 2023. And they have been going on well in terms of electronic transmission. I just told you about Anambra State governorship election that took place 8th of November. Everything was uploaded on real time, and there was no dispute. By 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., 98% of all the polling unit results in Anambra State have been uploaded. I was viewing them myself. You will see them there. So it's not a question of infrastructure. If, for any reason, there's no place in Nigeria, POS is not working. There's no place in Nigeria you cannot go and do transaction electronically. What is happening is that in this issue of electronic transmission of results, they can't even complain of infrastructure because the INEC devices use battery. They don't use electricity or these things we are talking about. Real time is about on the spot. If you do it, if you upload, if it doesn't go through, within seconds it will go through. Within a maximum of 5 minutes, it will go through. If you are talking about network, because you cannot say there is no network issue. And that was when we debated it in the closed session. In the closed session, we agreed that real time should be removed so that it will be electronic transmission of results. Electronic transmission of results will protect the process, because if you don't put it in the law, you cannot go to court to challenge any result you don't agree with,
Senator,
based on electronic transmission.
Senator, what I hear the Senate saying is that there is no objection to electronic transmission. The issue is about real time, and I don't think that they have removed that. However, let me ask you, as I begin to wrap up. Now, I mean, you were a founding member of PDP. You moved to ABGA. You were a very prominent member of ABGA. Now that you are in the Labour Party, your principal in the Labour Party has already moved to the ADC, and others have fused into the APC. When are you also going to pot, as they say in Nigerian parlance? Are you remaining in the Labour Party, or you end up in the APC, which is where almost everybody is now?
Ruben, you know, I enjoy your morning show on Arise News, where you discuss events in Nigeria. We are going through an abnormal phase in Nigeria's democracy, where political parties are not allowed to function. You know, many things are going on, and if you are here and some people don't like you to be there, they cause problem in the party where you are, so that you leave. So it's like that. There's confusion in the polity. All the political parties are in disarray. You know it, and you can see what is playing out both in the PDP, in the Labour Party, and elsewhere. So the only two parties that are in Nigeria today you can be sure you will contest the election with is the APC or the ADC. Anybody who wants to run for election will be going to these two parties, where the leadership is still not yet undermined. Nobody knows tomorrow. But I want to tell you that as somebody who has been very involved in politics in Nigeria for 27 years now, I have not seen this phase playing out in Nigeria today. Today we now have 31 governors from one party. They didn't start with 31 governors in APC. People are moving over. You leave your party and join APC. You condemn it every time I listen to you on Arise News. National Assembly members are moving. And nobody is asking, who are those to be the safeguard in this democracy? Who are the people who will be defending? Like now, we are faced with the issue of Electoral Act amendment. We are being called a minority, that we are doing this. We shouldn't be belittled. Yes, we are proud to stand where we are. Everybody will not belong to one political party. Nigeria must have alternative platform from where citizens can find their expression and say no to what even the majority is doing. The majority can have its way, and what we are doing in this Electoral Act amendment process is for you people to be aware of what is happening. If they muzzle everything through with their majority, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. If I like, I'm Senator Victor Umeh, there's no qualification for somebody who joined APC. If I like, I join. But I've decided to stay where I am. I've decided to stay where I am.
Senator,
and that will not mean that will not mean weakness. Yes?
Senator, I just wanted you to confirm in one sentence that this time around, You are not going to move from Labour Party to another party. That you will stay where
I'm
you
not
are.
in Labour Party. I'm no longer in Labour Party.
You have moved. You have moved already. Where are you now?
Why are you not following the news? You show us on our rise. You covered us live on 31st December.
Okay.
When we moved to ADC, I was the master of ceremony. Didn't you see me?
So you have moved from PDP. You have moved.
I'm a member of ADC.
You have moved from PDP to ABGA, yes, to Labour Party, and now you are in ADC. Okay. The matter speaks for itself. Okay.
I have a right to be anywhere I want.
Yes, it's a constitutional right.
I have a right even to say
to keep changing parties.
It's my constitutional right, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, Senator.
We have to go to where there is sanity.
And where you know.
In all the parties you are talking about, where are they? Where is PDP today? Where is Labour Party today? They are in court.
Okay.
We were in the Labour Party, and the Supreme Court gave judgment. INEC refused to implement the decision of the Supreme Court in Labour Party. As soon as we left on 31st of December, myself and many others and Mr. Peter Obi, the INEC now reverted to Supreme Court judgment, which was delivered on 4th of April, 2025. They couldn't give it effect. We took the judgment certified copy to them. For 9 months, they took no decision.
Okay, Senator.
As soon as we left, 5 days after, they decided to obey that judgment.
Okay,
is it not funny and ridiculous to you?
Okay, Senator.
So what we are saying is that the hands on the levers manipulating these things, they can continue. Democracy in Nigeria is what everybody should fight for. Let us fight for due process. Let us fight for transparency. Let us, in our actions, be above board. That's the only way to build Nigeria's democracy. It's not about convenience.
Okay, Senator.
Those who are moving to area of convenience may find it regrettable in the future. Let us secure the future of democracy in Nigeria. And democracy in Nigeria can only thrive when elections are conducted transparently.
Thank you very much,
and results
Senator
are generated and secured transparently.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Issue of electoral reform started from Yaradua when he won election.
Thank you very much, Senator
Justice Uwe's electoral reform committee.
Thank you.
The same thing is still bugging Nigeria today.
We have to go now,
Inability to keep the road. Inability to keep the road straight. We must keep the road straight for everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much, Senator Umeh. We'll return to this conversation. If I see you tomorrow, jump to another political party, which will be number 5 in an evolving political career.